Hello and welcome back to another video. Yes, today we're back in Explain 12 and we are in the Zibo 737-800, and today's video we're going to be flying from Dublin down to Kerry. I'm doing short flights at the minute because at the time I have to do these videos, and obviously just trying to get some tutorial videos out. And after the last video I did in this aircraft, it didn't go particularly well, so I thought I'd have another go and do a return flight, and we'll see how this one goes today. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to obviously plan the route. I'm going to do that while you guys can watch me do that. But the first thing I'm going to do when I get to that stage is get the aircraft ready, and I'm going to go through my checklist again. So you guys can see me do that, and let's just have a look around the aircraft. There we go. Okay, let's jump inside. Okay. Keypad 1. Okay, so as always, we get, first thing we're going to do is go to the EFB, and in the EFB we're going to go into ground services, and well, we can open the door and stuff like that, and put the air stairs down. But the first thing I'm going to do is just get the ground power and the air shoe connected. We'll leave the door for now, and then we're going to check that the wipers are off, both in park and off. Landing gear lever is down, throttles are idle, parking brake is on. The panel lights, which are situated here, are both off. I'd put those on now if it was a nighttime flight, especially the flood, so you can see what you're doing, but we'll leave them off for now. And on the overhead panel, I'll do it this way to make it easier for you guys to watch what I'm doing. Again, the dome light, which is situated up here, it's off at the minute. I would put that on now so it's on when the batteries and the GPU is connected. So especially at night time, or if it was quite dark during the day, I'd put that on now to make it all light up and be easier. Same with these really as well. I'd do them now if it was dark, or whether outside, or whether it was night time. I'd do that now, but I'm going to go for my checklist as it is because it's not dark, so we'll do it where my checklist says to do it during the daytime. So the DC power selector battery, yeah, it's already uncovered, so we'll switch it, click it down to on. As you see, we get some activity and some sounds, but as soon as we click this down, it all comes alive. And obviously we've already put the GPU on from the EFB, so it's connected, but we've got to put this down to get the power from it. So there we go. AC power selector up to ground. That's ground power on that one. The panel light and circuit breakers we do now, but like I said, we could have done it earlier on. The engine bleeds, left and right, are already on. Electric 2 and 1, I'll put those to on. Standby power is on auto, so we'll cover that back up. The position lights are on steady, so let's click it down to the last position on steady. Logo lights, as required, we'll leave them off because it is daytime and it's not dark outside. Ring lights we'll leave off, we'd only put those on if we were going to do an external check, which we're not going to do in this video. The emergency exit lights are here, and we're going to switch them to on. The light goes out. Window eats, left and right at the top here. We're going to click all 4 down to on. Engine hydraulic pumps both on, so that's the engine 1 and engine 2. They're on by default, so that's okay. Trim air, use this switch here, click it down to on. The recirculation fan, both on auto. Left and right packs, we'll put those on auto for now. We'll come back to those later on when we start the engines. Flight altitude we ain't set yet, and the landing altitude we ain't set yet. I've set this because I haven't done my flight plan yet. I don't know what it's going to be. Normally I do my flight plan beforehand, so we'll just come back to that once I do my flight plan. The VHF, nav, and IRS, FMC all here should all be on normal, and the source should be auto as well. Your damper, can't put that on yet, we'll put that on later. Centre fuel pumps, it says click down to on, but I'm going to leave them off for now, don't need to be any fuel in them. The AFT1 pump I'm going to put on so we can run the GPU. The no smoking sign I'm going to put to on, seatbelt sign can stay off for now. We may have to come back to that switch when we're going through the EFB to start the boarding phase, we shall see. And if I go to pilot panel, the autopilot panel, I'll put both directors on and then put the auto brake onto projected takeoff. I'll do that now in my checklist. It's more convenient for me to do that now than later, so I end up doing that now. Back on the overhead panel, which I could put on the end of the other one, so I don't have to switch between the two, but anyway, never mind. Up here, we want to put a line. The red light on DC comes on, that disappears, and then we put the nav. The same with the right side. On DC, light comes on, disappears, we put the navigation line. Both say align, and up here I'm going to change that to heading status, and number 8 comes up. That could be a random number, it depends where you are, but that will count down to 0 up to 1 and then disappear, and that tells you how long you've got before the aircraft aligns, the navigation system aligns, and once that all aligns, these screens all come to alive and all come on. Get rid of the yoke by pressing the Y key, and now we're going to do our initial FMC setup. So keypad number 3 takes me to the FMC, and we've got enter IRS position on the scratch pad. That just tells us what we've got to do. So we're going to press the FMC key up here, and we are faced with this page. On this page we just press post init down here, and we need to fill in the reference airport. So we're at Dublin today, so that's EIDW. Now we've got last position GPS and we've got the Dublin GPS. Don't touch these. The last GPS, this position doesn't work in here. To fill this in so the navigation iOS works properly, we need to go to the next page and we select either GPS L or GPS right. In this instance they're both the same, so we can just click GPS L, we go back to the previous page and we press the key next to set iOS position and it fills in. Nav date out of date means the navigation I'm using is out of date, but that's fine, and we can clear out the scratch pad. So the iOS now will align, the FLC will align it, it'll all work. All work there. Then the last video I did where I forgot how to do it. Okay, so we don't need to do it in the FMC for now. We'll come back to the FMC a little bit later. I can set the anti-ice ring and engine anti-ice on the other panel if I wanted to at this point, but I'm going to leave that for now. So I'm going to go through the flight plan, so we get the aircraft ready for boarding. So I'm going to go through the sim brief flight plan with you guys now, and maybe a bit on that map as well. I won't be using the ATC today because I have nothing but trouble with it since they updated the beta 12.4 version and explained it hasn't really worked, so we won't be using ATC today. So my departure and arrival in from the start, and I'll show you guys how to do that. So the first thing I'm going to do then is bring the sim brief plan over. The airline is R by R for Ryanair. Flight number, just select the random way, it doesn't really matter. Departing from Dublin, so that's EIDW, and arriving at Kerry, EIKY. The alternate is Dublin, so if any goes wrong we have to go back to Dublin. And the departure time, date and time, 27th of December, and that's our time. Now in the sim it's a little bit later than that in the real world, but I'm wearing the clock back in the sim and also in sim brief, so I can do a daytime flight today. But by default it always goes to the real time and kind of puts it probably about half an hour in front of the real time, so it gives you time to get the aircraft ready to depart. The aircraft type is the Boeing 737-800, yeah, and it is the Zibo 737-800 for the airframe, which I created myself. We're going to leave all this as it is. More options just gives us the fuel factor and the registration and stuff like that, but there's no need to mess with any of that. And we've got, as you see, the airbag cycle I'm using is 2403, which is obviously well out of date. I don't have a Navigraph subscription, so I use the out of date, the free navigation from Navigraph, so that's why it's out of date, which is why it came in the FMC earlier in the video that was out of date. Kilograms, IFR, so there's no need to go through all this. So we're departing runway 28R, landing runway 2026. I'll leave all this on auto, so sim brief automatically gives my altitude based on the route and what the aircraft can do. The passengers, sometimes it gives you quite a few passengers, more than what you may even get in the real world, and obviously payload and sea level weight automatically. You can do it manually, but I'll leave it all on auto. Fuel planning, again, it's all on auto, I don't touch any of that. Text entries, I'm going to leave that, and obviously we've got the route in, as you can see from here, and all the way down to the Kerry. But at the minute it's going from airport to airport, there's no arrivals and departures in. because I haven't got a Navigraph subscription, I can't do those in SimBrief. But what we can do now is generate this flight. So click generate. In Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, that's probably all you need to do, because in most of the aircraft in 2024, especially the Payware aircraft, once you generate a flight in SimBrief, it sends it through and you do it in the EFB to upload that SimBrief flight plan. In Xplane it doesn't quite work like that. I'm not sure about the Payware aircraft, but in the Zibo mod it doesn't quite work like that. And in order to get this flight plan into the Zibo mod, we need to use SimBrief downloader, like so. The latest flight plan will automatically come up here. If it doesn't, press the refresh button, and then you may remember some of the aircraft in Flight Simulator, after you got the CRJ, the Aerosoft CRJ, back in the day in 2020, you had to use this to put the SimBrief flight plan into the CRJ. Since 2024, obviously that's been updated. You may still need to do it from some aircraft, I don't know, but so you may be familiar with this application. But anyway, we're going to put it into the Zibo mod B737 down here because it uses a different file to the Xplane 1112. So we're going to install it straight in here into the FMS plans. And we do that by clicking the download button. It will come up with one that already exists, because the flight plan already in there, and I do one at a time with the Zibo mod. Whereas the Dornier, which I fly as well in Xplane, every time you add one in there, it stays in there. But in the 737, it always overwrites it. Maybe I've got to go in and change the file name to each save. I don't know. But for now, we're just overwrite it and click yes. It comes up. One file has been saved, successful, and I click close. So that's done. Don't have to worry about that now. So that flight plan will be saved in the location, and wherever you've got the location saved in the system, and it will also bring it into the FNC. Now I'm going to do a little nav map, show you a little nav map as well while I'm here, before we put it into the FMC. So if I load up the little nav map, bring that across, here we go. Obviously a little nav map, if you don't know about it, it's a tool that you can use for VFR, but it's also a good tool for IFR routes. I don't use it in Microsoft Flight Simulator because I use the on-data scene that will give me the departures and arrivals. Because the ATC in Xplane isn't that good, I tend to use it for my departures and arrivals in Xplane. First thing we do up here is we go to Scenery Library. Now I've already got it on Xplane 12, but if I want to go on Microsoft Flight Sim 2024, I'd click on this and it'll load up the Microsoft Flight Sim. But that's no good in Xplane, so we need to click back onto this. If up here you've got Xplane 12 empty, or Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 empty, or right there Microsoft Flight Simulator 2020 empty. For this, you need to, for example, if I was gonna, where you got Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 empty, if I click on that, it might have the nav data from the simulator in here. So what I noticed earlier was, when I tried to do this flight earlier, it was like this. I had these runways are doubling in the ILS information on there, but runway 28R and runway 10R didn't have the ILS information. So when I try to do a flight from here, couldn't do it. So in order to get the correct navigation information for these runways or any runway in the world that hasn't got any of this, you need to sync both together. So in order to do that, you come down to load the scenery library. Now this ain't going to work because what you need to do is, if you're doing it for Microsoft Flight Sim 2020, 24 or X-Plane 12, you need to load the game up first. You only need to load the game up to the main menu. You don't need to go into the game and choose an airplane or anything like that. Just load it up to the main menu. And once you've loaded up to the main menu, you can obviously your simulator address, you can change it if you want, like that. And once you do that, then click load. Now it's not going to work for me because I've not got Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 installed on my computer anymore. But once you've done that, well, it will actually is working. So you don't need to load up 2020 to do it. But once you've done that, for either 2020, 24 or 12, it does this. Once it gets to 100%, it will have took all your airports, the files, and read your simulator into the scenery library. Now I wasn't expecting this to work because 2020 is maybe easy installed on the computer then, but it's not running. I thought I uninstalled it, maybe it's still installed on the computer, but it's not running. But for X-Plane 12 in 2024, Microsoft 2024, I had to run the simulator to the main menu before your map could actually read the files. But for 2020 it seems to be working. It might not work properly because the simulator's not up and running. But we'll see how it goes. We'll see if it gets 100% and we'll see if it brings up the ILS or the runway there in Dublin. But this is what I couldn't figure out earlier, but then I figured it out, and yeah, this is what you've got to do to get both your nav map and your simulator, whatever you're using, to sync together. So it gets the data and the navigation data from the sim. Just don't forget Microsoft 2024, X-Plane 12 use a more updated navigation data, whereas my SimBrief one is quite out of date. Okay, so it probably hasn't worked properly in this one because it's not the simulator's not loaded up. But press use this data. And it comes up with this thing, so just press yes because it does it automatically for you. And if your navigation database is not from Navigraph and updated and you haven't got a subscription, it just put do not use Navigraph database. If you've not got a subscription on Navigraph, you don't want to use it. And once you click that, get the ILS for the missing runways. Okay. If you go back into scenery library, there's no one get anything. Like so. That's how you do that. So when you've got the missing ILS feathers on the runways and you're trying to get your arrival and departure stars, you can't because you ain't got the ILS feathers. You just need to make sure your nav map is reading the game, the navigation data from the simulator, whatever simulator you're using. And once you've done that, it works. But remember, you might need to obviously do it frequently just so it all updates, especially if Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 and 12 or Flight Simulator 2020 have any updates on their nav. But once you've done that, then you can, if you wanted to, go into Navigraph, Airac Cycle 1801. It might be different on yours, but on mine it says that. You don't want to, if you've got Navigraph subscription, you'll use this and that probably update automatically. If you don't have a Navigraph subscription, just use this, and it just reads it from the game. If you do that, it reads it from Navigraph. If you do this, it reads it from the game that you're using. Okay, so we are in Explain 12, so we're using Explain 12 one down here. It depends what game you're using. If you're only using one simulator, then you only have one simulator there. Okay, so I just thought I'd show you that today. So I've got a float loaded up, but I'm going to show you something else now. So because we generated our float plan in SimBrief, if you come over here to File, you've got a few options. You can export the float plans as a Microsoft Flight Sim 2024 plan, or a 2020 plan, or an Explain 11/12 plan. So export it as an FMS file, where the Zibo 7337 uses an FMX file name, I believe. But this would just load it into the normal flight plan location in Explain or in Flight Sim or whatever, and then you can load it up in Flight Simulator, in the EFB, or in Explain. It can load it up in the FMCUs and MCDs, or maybe you might be able to load it from the flight planner page. I'm not sure. But anyway, we can open a flight plan from SimBrief. So I could have opened the flight plan from SimBrief, the one I created in SimBrief here earlier, and load it up into Little Nano, or I can create a flight plan in Little Nano and export it to SimBrief. And what I'm going to do is open the flight plan from SimBrief I created in SimBrief a little bit earlier in the video. So open a flight plan from SimBrief, press that. Actually, your pilot ID is in from SimBrief if you have SimBrief. Download flight plan, and it comes up with your flight plan. There we go, Dublin to Kerry, distance, cruising altitude 8,000 feet. Okay, that's a bit long. I'm not going to cruise 8,000 feet in the 737. Okay, we're going to cancel that for now, so I'm going to bring SimBrief back over. And in order to correct that, you're going to go to Edit Flight. And it comes up, keep current time, keep past time. I want to keep past time. If I press keep use current time, it's going to change everything. But keep past time, I'll keep it all the same. And we're going to find the option for cruise altitude. And that, I believe, is here. No, it's on auto. And we're using the 737-800, so that should give us a high altitude then. 8,000 feet. Now I'm not sure what to put in here, so the route isn't very long. So if I put 30,000 feet in, we probably won't make it. So for this video, I'm going to put in 18,000 feet. Because, well, what I should be doing, I'm going to put 30,000 feet because we are in a 737, so if we don't make it up to 30,000 feet, we don't make it to 30,000 feet, so we might do a climb and a descent by a cruise. But, yeah, I didn't expect to do that, but he's a sure flight, I suppose. But yeah, we'll just put that in for now, and we'll see how far we get. So we're going to generate the flight plan again. If you did it right the first time, you won't have to come back and change the cruise altitude. If you automatically put one in for you that you like, you won't have to do that. I think it's changed. Look, I put 30,000 feet in, but it's saying that it was 24,000 feet, so I've kind of forced it to give us a better altitude, so it forced us to go to 24,000 feet now, which is fine. And once you've done that again, we can move that off the screen and then repeat what I've done earlier. So file, open flight plan from SimBrief, a download, and that should have updated it. Yes, as using cruise altitude 24,000 feet. And once you're happy with that, you can create a float plan, and it gives us that float plan as it is in SimBrief. Now, of course, we haven't got the departures in there. But the one thing about it on that map is you can go through all the departures and arrivals in the float plan. So we're taking off from here, and we'll be trying up here. Now, if I click on the little red dot down here, right click on it, it comes up with select departure runway. Well, we know our departure runway is 28R, which is 28 so we can click on show departure procedures for Dublin and get all the departures, all the runways. We want to filter it down to the runway we're using, or the runway where we're departing from. So we click on all runways and we find our runway. So runway 28R is the one we want. Then it comes up with it's a lot of list, so it's a lot on the list, but they go in all different directions. Just zoom out a little bit and click on the first one. See? If we use this one, we're going to take off and we're going to fly all the way up to there. But we don't want to do that. We are on a 737, so we could, if you want to go to a cruise altitude, then you probably could choose a longer departure. Because by the time we get to here, you'll be climbing higher, so yeah, maybe you would in a 737 use a different departure. But if you just cycle through them, that one goes down this direction. And also it depends on if you want to go north, south, east or west. Again, this one goes down in this direction, this one goes over here, so does that one. They just cycle all over the place. You want to use one way in the direction you're going, because you don't want to go up here to turn around and come back. But, as I said, because you're in a bigger aircraft, you might need the extra route, a longer departure to get up to climb altitude, because we're going to struggle to get up to climb altitude on the one I want. I'm not going to put in a short route today, but if I wanted to get up to 30,000 feet, I'll probably choose one that takes us up here and makes the route longer. But yeah, you just click on all these and you can also just see which one you want. It also depends on obviously the aircraft in which you're flying as well. So we're going to go for this one, I think. I want to do a short route, so I'm going to go for Perry 2J, which takes us off the runway. We'll be turning right, but then we'll be coming round down to here. It shortens the route, but I'm going to do it today. Normally in the 737 I'd make the route longer to get up to cruise altitude, like I said, but for this particular video I'm going to make the route a little bit shorter. And once we're happy with what we've selected, we can right click on the one we want and we can insert it. And as you can see, it inserts it into the route. Change the route and it inserts it. The departure is in, then the rest of the route changes. So our top of climb is there and our top of descent is there. But now we've got to do one for our arrival. On Kerry, runway 26 is the ILS, runway 8 is a official approach. So we are going on runway 26 today, so we're going to get a right click on the airport symbol. There is another way of doing it, but I do it that way. And right click on that. So our destination of runway we've already got in as runway 26. So if you didn't have that already, you can press on that and you can select the runway you want to use. But we've got that already, so we don't need to do that on this one. But we want show arrival approach procedures for Kerry, and the same as Dublin, the same thing. Choose the runway. And there's only 3 and they're all for runway 26. So choose the runway one up there. We've got a couple of arrivals. We've got Roxo down here, as you can see. Yeah, or we've got Roxo CI 26B to 26, and that just extends it. I'm going to use that one, and then right click, insert. Now, what we've got over here is the flight plan wanting to come to the VOR first and then do a right turn. We don't want that in the flight plan. So I've right clicked on that and I'm going to delete the NDB from the flight plan. So it makes the flight plan easier. Now what you can do, of course, is add to the flight plan. Because you've got this route here, we can add to the flight plan. And if we look over here, we've got this right turn. But we can come up to here, up to inbound. So if we choose inbound, add waypoint inbound to the flight plan. We then come to inbound and then do a right turn. In the 737 will make it a little bit easier to get the real ILS. As you can see, we're coming across Shannon. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to right click on that and I'm going to delete the VOR. We want to avoid that, and I want to avoid this as well. So again, to do that, we can click on the waypoint, gear lock, right click it, add waypoint. So we're coming around. And if I didn't want to go at this angle, I wanted to come down here, straighten it up, like so. Go click on this here, and we can add it. So that's how you do a flight plan in your nav. And like I said, once you've done that and you're happy with that, you can export it into your simulator of choice, or I can export it back into SimBrief, and then regenerate it in SimBrief, and then that will send that flight plan we just made into the simulator. So you can do it that way as well. And also you can see a little notepad as well. You've got the AI aircraft all flying around as well. So as you can see, the aircraft are landing on runway 28 left and they're departing off runway 28 right. And if we go down to Shannon, which you may not see any aircraft because it's a quieter airport. Yeah. So, but yeah, that is how you can do your flight planning. Like I said, you can export it back over to SimBrief, and then you'll regenerate the flight plan in SimBrief, and then use the downloader again to put the flight plan back into the Zibo 737. Or if you're using an aircraft that didn't need the downloader, you can load it into the FMC or MCDU of the aircraft you're using in the simulator you're using that aircraft in. But yeah, that is the way you'd do your flight planning. That's what I wanted to show you today. I'm exporting it back into Zibo for this particular video. I'm going to use the flight plan I've already done before I edited any of this. I'm just going to use the actual flight plan. So yeah, I just wanted to show you what you could actually do in the flight plan. So let's get this off the screen. There we go. Let's get back into the simulator. Because we need to start putting that flight plan into the FMC. So keypad number 3 for me, maybe not for you. So we put the IRS in, which as you can see now the screens are a little bit different from what they were before, and up here we've got a few different numbers now. You don't have to do that, but the countdown is done, so while reading the float plan you're all aligned. So everything that's done. So in the 737 Zibo 737 X-plane, we want to come over to home screen. And we can, on the payload, back to FMC, get a bit confused there. Yeah, so let's just go for the FMC. So we've already put the GPS coordinates in. We don't need to worry about any of that. So in a bonus 737, the next thing you normally need to do on the FMC is always at the bottom right hand corner. So that will always be the next thing you've got to do when it's down here. So press on boot, and to get the single flight plan into the FMC, you will do a flight plan request. We'll click on that. First you want to put EIDW or your departure airport ID code into the origin, and then we can do a flight plan request. Just wait now until that comes up with flight plan link. Okay, so it comes up with link ready, which means it's got the flight plan into similar and the FMC. Press load, and it loads the flight. Dublin, Kerry, your flight number and runway. And obviously on Zibo, just bring it down here right here. Flight number. Okay, and once you've done that, activate. And then once you've activated it, press execute. So that's done. But it's not completely done. And that the next thing we do is always on the bottom right hand side down there. We can also go to the next page and we can just check the route a little bit. We'll do the next page in a bit. We're going to go over to Perth in it, and we get all the weights. Our flight cruise altitude, we'll go to 24,000. We can do it either 24 as 24,000 zeros, or you can put 24 over. It doesn't make a difference. Cost index is CI 17, so you want 17. We're not using any reserves, but I'm going to put 1.0 in there. Zero fuel weight, you can enter it in manually if you want it, or you can just click on it, and I'm just going to click on it, drops there, and it calculates it all for us, and then we can press execute. Then the M1 limit is the next page, and you can obviously select any one of these for your takeoff. I'm going to keep it on the default one. for this flight. The next page will be takeoff. Flaps will be flap 5. And once you put your flaps in, it will calculate the V1, V2, and to do that, just click on each one. So V2 is 124 plus 10, so that'll be 134. They'll put into the autopilot later on. The next page, that's all fine, and then QRH, just selects all that on and off, like so. There's nothing on the right section there now, there's nothing left to do, so we don't need to. Move on to the next page, but at this point we can go into VNAV, of course. Just check the VNAV page to make sure it all works okay. That all looks okay to me. So we can go now into the legs page. And we've got our initial waypoints, the headings, the distance, and the altitude we need to be at these waypoints. It's called constraints. Just click next page and run through it. There actually discos in there, but that's not a complete flight because we've got no arrival, departure and arrival in there yet. At this point you would ask ATC clearance, and once they give you clearance they give you a squat code, they give you a QNH, they give you a departing runway, and they give you your standard instrument departure. That's it. But as you see, we've already checked it on AviTab to go through that, to get that for us, and we've also gone on AviTab and got our arrival. In the real world, or I would do if I was using ATC, I'd wait until I started my descent, and then I'd get the information off ATC about my arrival runway and my standard instrument arrival at the start. But I'm going to do it now because I'm not using ATC. So in order to do that, we have to click on Depart Arrive. And we've got our departing runway, airport, and arrival airport. So we're going to click on Depart. Now we know we're going to be going from runway 28R. As you see, it's already activated. So we're going to press on that. It's selected. These are all our SIDs over here. Now, if I bring your nav map back up, we know we're going to be using let's find it on here first. I think it was L12J, wasn't it? I think Perig 2J. So the departure we chose was Perig 2J. And that's so we look at the departures, and we chose Perig 2J. So on the FMC, we want to click select Perig 2J. Now, depending if the nav data in SimBrief, in your nav map, or in the airplane is up to date, they may not match. So what you might find here is Perig 3J, for example. And normally, if that's the case, it's still okay to use. It's just that the nav data is not synced with each other. But normally, I find it's normally the same thing, just with a different number. In this case, it matches. So we're going to select Perig 2J. There's no altitude. Transition it in the departure. So once you're happy, you can click execute. And when we go back to our legs page, it changes a little bit for us. And now we've got the departure in, and we just click next. And we go down to Perig. So, but yeah, as you can see, we've got a disco, which tells us after pegging, we've got a blank, and the aircraft won't know where to go between this and this. It's there because we've got a gap in the boot. And I'll explain that in a second, but I want to put in the arrival. So again, now we'll do the same thing, but we're going to choose our arrival airport and arrival. We know our arrival runway is going to be ILS 26, but there's a few different ones you can use. You can use 26 or MP 26, but we're going to use ILS 26, so we're going to select it. Now, there's no stars for this. There's no arrival stars. Like on the departure, we'll be at the departure stars, departure SIDS. There's no arrival stars for this for Kerry at runway 26. If you had a star, they'll all be down here, and we'll match the name. What we didn't, or don't match, you'll match it up and select it. But there isn't any. But there's a transition. Now we know we're going to be using Rotzer. If we did that in little map, if we bring little map back over, we know we've selected Rotzer, which is down here. Remember? Rotzer. Now it's not a star, but it is a transition, so we're going to be using it. It gets us set up in the ILS. So we're going to select Rotzer, and then we're going to press execute. And once you've done that, we're going to go back to the legs page by pressing legs, and we're going to go just check the route again. This goes now. We don't want this. This is probably in here, because when we get to Pelic and before we get to in-car, we might want to put an old in, because that will. So it's there for a reason, but we're not going to go into that today, and I don't want it there. I want to delete it. So the easiest way to delete it in the 737, most proposed the Zibo 737, the Asobo Microsoft Flight Simulator 737, any 737, it's all the same. If it's all been programmed and the same, it should all be the same. We want to press the next breakpoint down, which in this case is Inca, in the scratchpad, then press the disco, and then execute. And as you can see, it just moves the next breakpoint up, so the disco's gone. So now we've got a complete flight plan on this page. I'm just going to cycle through it to make sure we've got no more. We've got one there. So again, but clicks at the bottom, we need to click on next page. And click the next waypoint at the top there. In the scratch pad, go back to the previous page, click on it, execute. And that gets rid of it. These here are the go-around procedures. Rotzer of runway 26 is the last, at that point we should be on the ground. If we're going around for any reason, we'll fly to these and we'll hold that curve. Before we obviously then get told by ATC who are using it where to go next to get us set up for another approach. But yeah, I'm just going to cycle through it. No, I'm quite happy with that flight plan, that's fine. So we don't need to do anything more on that now. But what we can do, of course, on the Copilot side, if you haven't already done so, just press that and press the program button. And it comes up with the. I can do it on here actually to show you easier. So it just comes up with the ETA, the times, so each waypoint, the distance, gives you a time. Also gives you how much fuel you're expected to burn as well. So you can cycle through that for your winds and stuff as well. Some are more detailed than others, but yeah. so that you can do that as well. Okay, and just one more thing before we completely move away from the FMC. On the ND display, the navigation display, if you come up to here, click it down to plan, PLN, cycle the range as required, you'll get step. If you click on step, you'll get CTR, where I move for each waypoint, and it will also move for each waypoint on the display. And you can check your route doing a gross flight plan check, like so. You might want to zoom out a little bit as well, so you can just go through that like that. As you can see up here, we've seen some. We've got a strange loopy thing going on here, because I didn't change the flight plan in SimBrief. Remember in the unmanned map, we deleted a few things. I need to sort of change that a bit. So the Rotso is here and CI2B is there. So let's go to the next page. Then we've got Rotso again. So what we need to do, we need to delete Rotso here. It's obviously put an old in for us because it expects us to hold at that point. We don't want to hold at that point. So I'm going to click on CI2B and move up, execute. Now if we go back down to step, it brings us around here again. But we don't want that either. He's doing that because obviously when it's 737 he thinks we're going to need that extra room to manoeuvre. I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do is click on CI2B again. Click up. So you don't just have to do that for the discos, you can do that to delete waypoints as well. Execute. As you can see, I just zoom out a little bit here now. We've still got so much strange going on in the flight plan. Wants us to go all the way like this. I don't want to do that, like I said, so I'm going to start deleting stuff. So CI2B again, curve, execute, gets rid of it. So now we're coming down to CI2B and Rotso. Now, you can add waypoints into the FMC. Inbound, for example. So let's type it in. Let's go into routes, which should be on here. Type in inbound. Didn't want that Shannon Fiero in here. We didn't want to put that in. We wanted to get rid of that one, so it didn't quite match up with the one I did on that map. Let's just change back to map mode. Yeah, so it didn't quite match up with what I wanted to do on the board. I don't want to do that. Yeah, not great. We can change that by pressing the Shannon MDB DOR. We're invalid as we type the waypoint in the squadron, and then we can execute back to limits. of course we're going to get the discontinuity in there. So I want to get rid of this. Yeah, I don't want this in. So I'm going to press on that one again and remove it. And then press on it again and remove it. And then execute. Okay. So if we go back into plan mode and we go back into the step comes back up again and we press step, cycle through the routes. We can change the range if you want, which might make it a little bit easier for us, because we know the departure is fine. So we're just going to cycle through and we're going to inland. So let's change that back down. So inland. So we got rid of the shaman VOR. So we're going to go there. We're going to be out wider inland. Then we're going to CI2B, CI26 sorry, and then onto Watson. So you can alter it in the FMC as well by using what you've done in here. I could have put this waypoint in as well, and I could have obviously put this waypoint in as well. But we can do that. Let's put jiglog in. So jiglog is going to be after Vic. So let's put jiglog in. So it's jiglog. So let's enter jiglog into the scratch point. Jiglog. Okay. Now we want jiglog to go after Viku. So we're going to click it. We're going to execute. We're going to correct. Well, I've actually, yeah, and Viku's there. So that's a mistake because we didn't want Viku after. Let's go through. If you've made a mistake like that, you obviously need to change it. So in order to change it, you know, need to select Viku again and get rid of Jira. Execute. So Viku is there. We want to put it in here, so but jiglog there. Even though you pressed on the waypoint inward, then inward doesn't delete. It just moves down and gets disco in between. But of course we don't want that disco in between. And if we bring up a little map, we have Bickle, jiglog, inward. We haven't put that one in yet. But we could. I'm not going to. But we could, but let's try and put that one in. Let's see if it can actually put that one in. It might not put that one in for us. So that was a K. Yeah, wrong one. Let's K KY015. So KY015, and we want that obviously in after jiglog and before inward. We can click it there. It comes up with this. The top one would normally be the closest one to us. We'll try it. It's not working there, so I don't know why it's not working, but it's not working. So in that case, it hasn't worked. I didn't think it would work, but that's how you would do it if you wanted to play. It's a different kind of waypoint, but we're going to leave it. So we're just going to get rid of this disco, and to do that obviously I'm going to press inward and move it up and execute. Kerry, it'll be in Karag, Recall, jiglog, inward, and then down to click on. So you can match you up, like I said, you can match you up on SimBrief with it on that map if you wanted to. But you could have just exported the on that map back into SimBrief and reloaded it. Sometimes that doesn't always work if you don't match. So I don't always do it that way. I like to do it this way. It just adds more time onto your flow if you do it like that. But yeah, so obviously once you've done that, just cycle through it again, or less than step 1. Just make sure everything looks okay. Never normally takes me this long to do a flight plan. Obviously it's taking a bit longer on this particular flight plan. So I'm just trying to go through it. Once you're happy with that, go back to map. And that's the traffic, by the way, that button there was the TCAS on. And that goes through the different modes. Yeah, and I've got data, that's the constraint sign, and WXR is the override. So yeah, I don't normally take this long to do flight plans, but it takes me a while when I'm trying to put stuff together. This tutorial. Over here, in the fuel weight and balance, airside services, not active, hit next. Load OFP from SimBrief, activate. That will start the boarding process. And it also obviously will put the fuel in as well. So you can watch the fuel and stuff go up. And we need 5454 kilograms. You come back over to SimBrief. So it's expecting 5.417 kilograms. So we're going to put a bit more fuel in there. And obviously we're going to watch it over there as well. It should start doing it all automatically for us, like so. Catering, baggage is coming over, stairs, the door and the stairs have been automatically open for us, and the fuel truck is starting to load the fuel in. It's very simple GSX and flight sim and that, it does it all itself like the Zibo mod. And obviously now, if you go back into it, you'll see stuff like fuel going up, cargo's going up, etc. Will get loaded in a bit. On the overhead panel, by the way, we know our altitude is 24,000 feet, so we're going to change that to 24,000 feet. On the autopilot, so the V2 speed was 124 to do that. If you forgot, M1 limit, takeoff, V2 speed 124 plus 10, so we're going to altitude of 24,000 feet. We'll see how it goes. We'll see how we get to when it can't make it. We'll get into that. We'll get into that in. ALNAV can go on. VNAV can go on. And you got that other arm later on. Center console, transponder. We haven't got a transponder code today. We're not using ATC. If we did, I'd enter it these, and I'll put the transponder on CRA. I do that anyway at this stage, so I don't forget the later on in the flight. Set the map range. I've already done that. The weather's on, and you can put terrain on if you need it, or you can put terrain on the co-pilot side. As well. ILS frequencies you can put in if you know them. The map in Xplane isn't the best. It doesn't really give you a lot of information until you're closer up to it. I've got my alert in there, so let me just open. Open the file. It comes up. Documents and IMS frequencies. We're going to Shannon. Runway 24. I didn't save it. That's a shame. Did I save it? Didn't save it. Or did it?
Ground flight deck fuel is all loaded up and you are good to go.
Runway 26, the frequency should be 108.70. So over here, go back to this view, it's easy. So over here, we want to type in 108. The decimal point does it automatically, so we want to put 108.70. Once it's in, you want to activate it by pressing this, and it comes up to the top. And you can also do the same over on the other side as well, and activate that. And wireless frequency for Kerry is now, so we ain't got to do that later. But normally your ATC or on the map, you can auto tune it on the map and it goes to the airport, but it's already in there now, so that's fine. I'm just trying to think if I've gone too far ahead of anything else I've got to do. You know, the FMC is done, the aircraft is now boarding up. I've done the autopilot, I just haven't armed the auto throttle. Got that on the transponder code. I'm not using one, but I've set the trunk in TRA. I'll do that at this stage. Wireless panels are done, and no, we're just going to wait for pushback now, I think. So where are we? Fuel, cargo is done. So for this one, passenger boarding set no smoking switched off and then to auto. So yeah, I can say we'll come back to that. So we need to switch the smoker sign back off and back to auto. And then we'll start boarding the passengers for us. make sure. Yeah, it's just the case it's set to try. Big AviTab and the airport. We'll type in the code Kerry EIKY. Right, even if you've got no Navigraph subscription, you can still use the AviTab to give you the information of the airport. And obviously, runway 26 RLS is down there, so I don't need to write it down, it's in here anyway. It's 108, that's it. Course is 254. As well as the heading, so runway is 254. Tells you it's the A1 runway as well, and you get the weather. And you get the elevation, 106 feet. So back on the overhead panel, change that. I can't get it precisely what it is, but you can kind of get it close. You're going to be 100. Okay. The aircraft is boarding, and what I want to do as well is go back to the M1, take off. And see it, we've got CG. We should have done that before we entered these, because these are going to change now. This is our trim, essentially trim. So we click on it, our trim is 4.25. On the trim wheel, that's 0, so we're going to go in this way. Try and get it somewhere in the end, it's difficult to manage. I think they will change. So it changes then if we do some after. I can't remember what. So yeah, we ain't got to worry about that now. Go back to the next. Obviously this virtual mode VOR, we want to put it back into that mode. Here you've got feet, you press on that, click here, press on meters, and meters up there as well. What was that departure time? I can't remember. If it was, because I'm well behind on the scheduled departure time. When I do these tutorial videos, I used to have to sit there and talk about stuff for a good hour or so. And stuff. Obviously, when I do video without talking, it takes me a lot quicker. That's another video I'm going to do. I'm not going to explain to you. That's other videos. I don't do that in the video. I just want to go through it a little bit onto today's video. The last video I did wasn't right, so we can just get rid of the bullshit. So we're just waiting for the loading to complete. Can't do a lot more actually while that's happening. Kind of got to wait for that to before we can do anything else. So yeah, we're just gonna. Oh, we can. No, we can't. No, the cabin utilities are already on. I missed one to check this, but they're already on. So you're damping one actually. Put your damping on. Normally do it earlier, but I've got to change that, so I can actually put that on now. What we can do though is check the fuel. We've got 2.730 in each tank. check if that fuel is correct, which it is. So, and we can actually go to the payload and check the fuel there as well. So yeah, we've got the correct fuel. The numbers will change, but it's still loading. What we can do is performance data. So Dublin, runway conditions dry. QNH is 1013. Really change, so actually we're in inches at the minute, so we can change that to HPA. Put that and use the number to actually change it, which was 1013. ATC is not going to do this. It changes up both sides, so you have to sync. There's a setting in the EFB which would be in the manual, which I always put in the description. The outside air temperature is 15 Celsius, which seems a bit warm for this kind of work. It definitely wasn't 15 Celsius outside today. In the real world. The CG is there as well, but that might be calculated once it's finished loading. You've got all your landing stuff in there as well. Let's see if that feels enough to load it. So I might have to change it down there. Just check the payload. Next page here. Obviously it's all still changing. So it's essential gravity. Yeah, you've got all this as well. Yeah. Passenger rates, slightly changing. I think it's on 160 at the minute. I need to change that. So on 68%, I'll just go to outside. So the K and the baggage and the fuel run gun. The buses are there. That's where the state. Obviously in GSX you'll see the passengers walking out of these into the aircraft, obviously in the explain. We don't get that. This is all part of the Zibo mod anyway. It's not part of the X-plane, or it's not a DLC for a plane or a plugin, it's part of the aircraft itself. Which makes this 737 a pretty good aircraft. Yeah, so we're just waiting for the patches to load up and then we can start the engines and push back. Go into the infuse fluid. There we go. So 80%. So we're almost there. Almost there. You can obviously put the lights on if you want to put some lights lighting up inside the cockpit. If you wanted to. Panel lights. Kind of stuff. It's only if you wanted to use daylight, but you never know if the weather will change in the clouds. What was that departure time? 12 o'clock. So yeah, running quite late with that. Times better like work when I'm doing so when that gets 100% plus the seatbelt signs on the ball fuel comes on and the people are and they get the AviTab started. Get going. Okay, so now we're at 100%. it's all done. Let's just go back to payload system here.
Welcome on board the Ryanair flight. May we have your attention while we point out some of the safety features on this Boeing 737-800 aircraft. Please be attentive during this demonstration. There are 8 emergency exits, with the red exit sign.
Just click on ground services.
Along the cabin aisle,
So, on the overhead panel, we need the seat point signs. On. The electric pumps are both on. I don't know what I've got on in the checklist now, because I checked on my got on my checklist earlier on, but they're both on. Fuel pumps can go on. We're going to leave the centre fuel pumps off because there's no fuel in the centre fuel pumps. And the beacon light, the anti-occlusion light can go on. I'm going to put this back on standby power there. Okay, let's just have a quick look outside, make sure it's all clear. Yeah, it's all clear. So I'm going to start the APU. And start the APU in the 737, which will apply to all 737s. It's got all pretty much the same. Once you know one, no matter what mod, freeware, payware, whatever sim you throw them in, they're all pretty much, if they've all been done properly to a good standard, they all pretty much work the same. So we're going to put the APU down here to start. Just going to wait for the oil pressure to come up. The EGT will start rising and then it will drop back and settle down somewhere around here. Then we'll go, this will illuminate and then we'll put the APU generators. You can probably hear the APU already starting to work, already starting to do its thing. Once you return the AC power selector back to standby, but we should have left it in the ground really. But yeah, so the EGT is actually just dropping back down again now, and it will settle down. Once it does, the APU, the bus transfer mode will go on the APU generators. There you go, it's lit up. The APU generator off bus is lit up, and once that lights up, we then click the APU generators. We would now turn the APU generators back to standby up here, and we want to turn the packs off, so the left one's off, the right one's off, and we do that so we can start the engines. The APU bleed over here needs to go to on as well. Once we've done that then, we are ready to engine start. We can use ignition left or ignition right. We're going to use the right ignition today. We've just had a cabin ready illuminate, which means that the cabin is now ready and secure. Obviously I'm getting ahead of myself because we're not going to start the engine straight away because we've got to push back forward. Before we push back, we can use better pushback down here within the EFB. I've got it as a plugin up here as well, but you can use it in the EFB down here. I'm going to, before I do that, ground services, disconnect the GPU and the ASU if you're using it, and remove the chocks. Doors and everything else is okay. Then in the better pushback, we want to request
Ground cockpit, tow is driving up.
I don't think I've ever used it in the EFB before. Did that work?
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
I'm gonna wait for him to come over. Don't know where he is. Ah, there he is. He's already here. Okay. I don't think I've ever used it in the EFB on this 737. Normally I just use the plugin. Can we pre-plan it? Just gotta wait. I don't know if we can actually pre-plan it. Or whether it just pushes us back. Let's go up here and have a look at better pushback. Don't know if that's working. We've got a pre-plan.
Ground a cockpit.
Ah, there we go.
Please show me where you want to go.
Okay, so you got to press that to so the scroll wheel on your mouse will do this. Moving it around will send it to where you need to send it. Don't know where you try. Well, you can put it there. You can right left click. Can actually put it there, change it like that. Actually we've made a mess of that. Let's do that again. So what I did was
Ground a cockpit. Please show me where you want to go.
Like that. And then we need to turn it like that, so and once you're happy with that, you can press enter on the keyboard.
So connected and bypassed and inserted. Release parking brake.
And obviously
Starting pushback. And you may start engines.
parking brake is released and we can start the engines and hit a pushback, and we ain't got to worry about it. So to start the engines we're using the Y ignition. We're going to start the right engine first, so we're going to kick down to ground and we're watching the N2 down here. 20%, 25% in the 737, something like that. So you can correct me if I'm wrong, but at this point I'm going to add the fuel. There we go. Let me just go to outside view, check on our pushback. It's turning us. We pre-planned it. We'll be going up over here. When it takes off. It should start us up and we should come to a stop. Like so. And once the right engine is done, the selector clicks back to auto, and we can do the same procedure for the left engine. It's always the right engine first, then 737, and then the left engine. So the right engine is number 2, left engine is number 1, I believe.
Operation complete. Set parking
Fuel.
brake.
Set the parking brake.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Once it's ready, it will disappear. And then carry on then with the taxi. I think it disconnects automatically. Yes, up here, so we're gonna disconnect and then signal up there, so there we go. So the engine selectors are now both switched back to auto. We can now come off the APU, so we can put the generators 1 and 2 onto back on. The ProBeat
Hose disconnected and bypass pin has been removed.
Right.
Hand signal on the right. We'll
on.
see you next time and have a safe flight.
Anti-ice, wing anti-ice, engine anti-ice as required. Both left and right packs now can go back to auto. Recirculation valve is already on auto. APU can go off. Engine starters can go to continuous. And your damper on, but it's already on. Now, I think some airlines like to use the APU for takeoff, just in case. I think it's airline dependent. I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to turn it off now. So I knocked that off APU, and that will just come back down to 0. Drop down to 0 all on its own, so we ain't got to worry about that. The flaps we need to set to 5, so we're going to do that now. Flaps set to 5. The trim wheel has been set. I just want to double check that. It's still 4.25, the future speeds work exactly the same. That is fine. I'm going to arm the auto throttle at this point. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. And we've got a taxi clearance from ATC if we were using ATC, so taxi lights would go on at this point. If we were taxiing at night, we'd put the position lights back up to steady. Put them to steady. They are on steady anyway, so if it was night time, we'd put them on steady at this point, just to make us a bit more see. And so yeah, let's just double check the passenger views. There we go. Let's just have a go side. So we're going to depart, obviously we're not following ATC instructions, so hopefully the aircraft don't get in our way. So parking brake off, and actually the 737 will actually go and do its own idle power. You can add a little bit of thrust if you want to, but it will move and do its own power. A new feature that's been included in Explain 12.4, the beta, is Tobii Tracker is now a native part of the game. I've got it set to my home key. If I switch it on, I can move around using the Tobii Tracker. I think in the last video I showed you how to do that on the within the options. So I'm not going to do that. maybe I should actually do different parts of tutorials rather than do a complete flight. I should maybe do cold and dark to engine start, and then pushback to taxi, and take off to cruise, and cruise to approach, and approach and landing to shutting the aircraft down again. Maybe I should do that. Maybe that'd be more easier and helpful rather than do these long tutorial videos. I can just go through each video, or break down this video into smaller videos rather than release it as one video. I don't know, I'll think about it. Eventually though, I might start doing live streams. Which may be better than doing pre-recorded videos, as the live stream will happen obviously live. So that may be what I might do going forward. Just got a bit too fast there, so we'll just cover up the taxi line there. Yeah, you can get a bit too quick if you apply too much throttle. That should be stop formation then. So you don't attack it too quick anyway, but I just got carried away there. That's kind of, don't know, maybe it's just because I'm going too quick. I just feel like it's not very responsive. I'm probably going too quick. I've got it set to yaw in the EFB. Let's just come to a stop here. I can just show you that. Parking brake on. Let's get the turbo tracker back off. Yeah, so in the EFB, when you go to customize and configure hardware, you've got this option to get the nose wheel to turn of all its range from taxiing and stuff. You want to put it on yaw. So if you don't, if it's on or something like that, you might not be able to turn the aircraft that good. So that's just a little tip if you're struggling on the ground. And also while I'm on the ground, you stop here. You could have also gone into PA system and done a welcome message. You won't hear it as much here in the cabin, the cockpit, but you might have heard it in the passenger cabin. Yeah, you can do all that as well. The flight gate as well is activated by using the airline services there. So yeah, just a few things I wanted to show you, but I'm going to go back into this and go to map, and you can zoom out, or you can zoom in. There we go. So yeah, I just wanted to just go through that for a bit. Anyway, let's carry on. So I might actually do a rolling start, but which means you don't stop on the runway, you just go onto the runway and you roll so you don't come to a stop. No, I might start because I just want to make sure the engine is correctly in it. In the autopilot. At this point we'll be cut up to the runway line there, where we'd hold for ATC. We're not using ATC, so hopefully we get the aircraft coming to land, but we'd hold here and get our arrival, arrival at clearance to take off. But actually I'm not using it, so you may see an aircraft, but I think traffic verbal, which is what I use for the AI, I think they stop and go around and stuff like that if you're near, if they're near you, but they just don't talk to ATC. But like I say, the ATC 12.4, as it is a beta, don't seem to be. I haven't found it working that great. But you can have your different opinion whether the ATC is actually good or bad in Expo. Again, it's not great in the Microsoft Flight Simulator either. If you're using something like Beyond ATC, which I do. So I'm just going to put the parking brake on. I'm going to stop here. I'm going to put the runway turn off lights on. I'm going to put the landing lights on. I'm going to move the position to strobe and steady, up, and that's it. And obviously runway heading, I can't sink it in this aircraft, so I'm just going to put it in to match what's on the display. But can use the on-nav map. I'll bring that over to go back up to the up here, and you can use it. So 277 would have been the runway heading. So yeah, it's 2676 there, but it is 277. Probably because of where I'm angled. I'm probably not straight. No, I'm not straight. So there we go. That is why it was on 276, not 277. So the course modes are set to 277. Yeah, we're good to go. So parking brake released, toga pressed, there we go. I'll try and keep the centre line if you can. I'll need to do is actually bring the fuel down to a little bit.
80 knots.
V1 rotate.
Rotate, there we go.
Positive rate. 400.
Autopilot on. Stick seems really sensitive. That wasn't great, that takeoff. Stick seems, stick seems
1000.
really sensitive. I don't know why. So the autopilot is on. 40%. It's now on. So the autopilot should follow the constraints in here, but let's just take off the taxi light off, the runway lights to go off, then go back to auto. Get the takeoff and go up, and the flaps can come down, up. Okay. So the VNAV on, it should hold to the constraints. So we should hold at 4,000 feet if it works. Will it hold there, or will it go straight past? It's going straight past. Okay, it's going straight past because obviously we've gone past that waypoint. So our next one will be 9,000 feet. But if that was 4,000 feet, it would have held at 4,000 feet and followed the constraints. It should also be following the speed. So we shouldn't go any faster than this, which is why the speed's not filled in, because it's following FNAV. It's following the speeds within the FMC. So it's a bit like the Airbus when you're obviously in selected mode in the Airbus automatic mode. It's it follows everything out the FMC. So wind's been standard, so we're going to go standard. The weather radar would be as required. The TCAS would go on TARA if you didn't already do so. We've already done that, so we don't have to do it now. So I always forget. If you want to put the weather radar on, if I can figure out, find where it is, it's here. So it's all an auto. I don't know if it's simulated. Zibo 737 or whether you do an extra plugin. I'm not sure. At the minute it's working a lot better than it did in the last one. Yeah. Obviously using the map management, ground scenery down there. Outside. It's pretty good though, isn't it? The clouds, atmosphere going fine, it's good. Obviously this over is some of that I think goes badly, some stuff like that. Stuff that goes really well. But I don't want to get too far ahead of the graphics. I want to concentrate on this. And as you can see, the FMC is speed 250, flight level 9,000 feet, and it's old autopilots. Speed 250, and it's holding at 9,000 feet. So the FNAV is working, but now it's moved on to the next waypoint, Pelic, and we're going to be at 275 at 23,000 feet. So as you can see, the speed is now increasing and the altitude is climbing. So the autopilot, the FNAV and the FMC are in sync and working together. The LNAV is what's keeping us on our route. So it all seems to be working fairly nicely Zibo 737 today. Let's hope it continues to do that. And what I should have done, passing 10,000 feet, which we are going to be doing, or we have done, is we have the lights off, seatbelt signs can go off. Always do that when we're passing 10,000 feet on the way up and on the way back down. One of the anti-ice as well. There's not a lot of cloud about, so we should be okay. But just keep our eyes on that. We can increase the range as well. Increase the range to whatever you want. Yeah, top of climb is there. So we should be at 23,000 feet when we get to there. And it's a short cruise, and our top of descent will be there. And I'm hoping the FNAV will descend us. But I'm looking, let's go through the pages. Ratso 3,000 feet, so we want to be at 3,000 feet at Ratso to capture the ILS. So and the rule of thumb on your descent is you calculate your cruise altitude when you're at your cruise altitude, you calculate it by times 3. So 24 times 3, for example. Give us 72. And that will give us a distance of 72 miles to descend from 24,000 feet down to 3,000 feet. And then you always then calculate your ground speed when you cruise, so your cruise speed, ground speed should be there. At the minute it's on 325, but you'll times that by 5 and that will give you your descent rate. There are calculators out there where you can do that. I don't think there's one in the Zibo mod here. But if you're going to the performance landing, obviously there's our airport, arrival airport, that's the flaps, condition dry, QNH, the outside air temperature 15 Celsius, so that's not quite correct. You can zoom out on the map as well. So yeah, so we'll worry about that when we get to it. But you can also follow the constraints in the altitude as well. So your constraints are under your waypoints, you've got your waypoints, and you've got your altitude. Sometimes it'll give you your distance and time, but it's up here anyway. Obviously 8.4 miles to the next waypoint, and we should be at the next waypoint at 1309. So if you look at the waypoint, 1309. Sometimes you'll get your altitudes at each one. Don't think it does it on this, but you can get them in here anyway. So at Kerry 20,000 feet, in course 16, Copyri we want to be back at 24,000 feet. Okay, that's a strange one. Just looking up here. That is strange, but we can delete any of these so we can go direct. So where it's got Copyri at 24,000 feet, we can actually delete Bickle and go straight direct to Juliet. Did I read that wrong? I think I read that wrong, didn't I? Yeah, so yeah, Copyri, yeah, 24,000 feet at Copyri, Bickle, but we can delete any of these by pressing it. For example, Juliet, and then pressing Bickle. It moves it up, you'll press execute, and the aircraft will, rather than to Bickle, it will go then to Juliet, so you can get through the quicker. But we're gonna sample down and do the route. So the next one's going to be in-car, which is in-car at 16,000 feet. So what we'll do, see Copyri there, let's put that in the scratch pad, move it up to in-car, execute it, in-car disappears, and the next waypoint becomes Copyri. So it starts turning towards Copyri. You can shorten your route, you can have waypoints in. main concern to me is where speed is 249, it should be 274. Leave that for now, see where we go. Looking at the top of descent there. So I'm going to put 3,000 feet in the autopilot. I don't know if females going to take us down to 3,000 feet. Older, the constraints, if we're, or slow down so we don't go past the altitude constraints below what it says. We'll see. We'll see what it does. Don't do anything. I'll take over manually. Do it. Press the wings. Probably should have done earlier. Press the wings, but we're filling the wings here. Go with the wings. Let's bring up on that map. Also, if I bring it on that map over, obviously I see the map, the front hand on that map is a bit different from what we did. I didn't land obviously into the similar. Obviously there we are. He's coming out to Korak, so the Korak is out to Vickle, so it should follow this line now. Down to it, should come over here somewhere. The stuff we've completed, great there, but I was really doing this because I didn't put this into the game, into the simulator, and I didn't put it back into Simbo. But it should follow this, so, which is nice. Obviously we can view that on the separate screen if we on the second monitor if you've got one, so you can watch it. Obviously you don't get it on here, which is unfortunate. So we are now here, so we're going to see if the aircraft starts to descend, but at this point when we get closer to here, we've still got a bit of time yet. We've got 4 minutes. We'll ask ATC to call for the descent, or ATC will call you, ask if you're ready for the descent, and you'll get your arrival start and arrival runway, and then you'll enter it into the FMC. But we've already done that by pressing departure and arrivals earlier, so I just did it again to do right whilst I was in the ATC. So actually working on a fix for the anti-aliasing. They're putting in motion sectors, so the anti-aliasing, we can start using TAA once they do that. They're working on that, so all this stuff here in the distance, the flickering and stuff and the clouds and all this stuff should all be fixed. And also I believe they're working on streaming the ground service scenery. So it's going to be at that level of Microsoft Flight Simulator going forward. I don't know when that will be. Will there be X-Plane Travel, or there might be a new X-Plane Simulator coming out at some point. It's going to be up there, I believe. It's not bad as it is. In some ways I do actually prefer it to Microsoft Flight Sim. So we're getting close to the top of descent, so I want to see if the EFB works. Let's see if it starts descending itself. If not, I'll descend manually. Ground speed is 353 and we're going to times that by 5. That should give us the descent rate of 1,765. Let's just see if it does actually do it itself. I think you've got to do that. Let's just see. Jig-log 258 speed 16,000 feet. Let's see if it starts to descend. Give it a few moments, see if it does it. Don't think it's going to do it. Okay, it's not going to do it, so what I'm going to do is I want to feed out the FS mode. I'm going to start our descent out south and I'm going to bring the speed down to 258. In the FMC, just watch us doing the FMC. So give up, we want to be at 16,000 feet. And in that, we want to be at 4,500 and 3,000 feet before. Lots of. Can actually manage the speed yourself by bringing the speed down slower, so you can monitor the speed as we're descending. So we descent down. We've got we might not make that one, so we could increase the descent rate as well. So we'll just watch the speed. You might put the speed brakes out to so it might make slow the aircraft down a little bit. Obviously the passenger log higher than expected, so I'm just going to increase the descent rate to get us down a little bit because we are higher than like, and I'm going to bring the speed down to 220. At this point, yeah, you're taking over and you're trying to manage the aircraft. Speed brake. Isn't doing much drag, is it? So we've got 35 miles to get down to 4,000 feet. Speeds 290 and we are going a little bit quicker than what I wanted. I'm gonna bring the vertical speed back up because I wanna back down. I don't wanna be descending that fast. To it. Speed brake doesn't really seem to do it a lot, does it, to slow the aircraft down anyway. And it does in that 2,000 feet per minute. So we should be okay. Train onto there, that can stay off, that's fine. Yeah. 4 minutes, train in the locomotive to get in there. I'll take the same down to sleep. So we're currently descending back to 3,000 feet. So yeah, 4 minutes. Probably can reduce the descent right now because we don't need to be going down so quickly. Should be okay. we're not using the PA system, but if he was, bit of a landing, see if that works. I'm not using the outside tool that I normally use for my announcements, so I won't worry about that today. I've got 6,000 feet, doing 224 knots, so I'm going to start bringing the speed down now to about 185. You always want to be ahead of the aeroplane, you don't want to be falling behind it. We've got a box run standard, so we need to go back into non-standard mode, and I think QNH 1011. Just change the QNH down to 1011. So I'm just going to back the VS up down because we're coming down a little bit too quick. Speed brake and go. Back off. And I'm going to bring the speed of the aircraft down. Just keep it at 185 for now. Let's go into the FMC and we can go into the other one auto. It's fine. Go to the landing performance.
1,000 to go.
Just look at on our map, see what that's doing. Yeah, we're not following this line because we changed it, remember? So we're going from DLOG down to INAD. We did put this waypoint in.
2,500.
We've got down to 3,000 feet. Okay, we got down a little bit quicker than what I wanted on my descent rate. Reject the takeoff and go to wherever you want it to go. 1, 2, 3, all max. Let's put it on 3. And you've got your flaps extended here, so we're doing 1 at 5, so we want to be at flap 25. So just reduce the speed now. Down to 151, just reduce it down to 151 speed. Just want to be ahead of the aircraft, I don't want it to be rushing on the end. Bring the range back down. Change the map to approach if you want to. Leave it on the map for now. Bring the gear down. Our final approach speed is going to be 136. fires to continuous. You could have started the APU before now if you can't take on Pacific. Bring the other back over. Yep, see we're on the line now. Straight into ILH 26. Bring the flaps down to full. I'm going to bring the speed down. I'm going to do 140. I ain't doing 146. You can switch the VOR localizer on. This part we can also switch the approach mode on as well. We can change to the approach panel where we get the glow slope. That comes up. Should gone past CI 2B, 26B, so we're on the final stage now, coming to Rotzer, which is down here, about 7.6 miles out. I'm going to put it on 136 because I've got to calculate just a bit on landing. Slope now, look. Almost on the threshold of the glow slope, and we should start to capture it any point now when we go into the green. Yeah, as you can see, we're already capturing it, so the glow slope's come up, green box around it, and the diamond shape there should centre in the middle if we're on target. Just keep an eye on it. Let's see, stabilizers. We're not using the second autopilot for this. You can do a you can put the second autopilot on, and we can use the both autopilots to hand if you want to. So ILS is just glow slope's stabilising, altitude is coming down, and the hold speed at 136. You can go from auto now if you want to, the 737. It didn't work out in the last video. I might see if it works out in this video, so I'll probably test these things. The CT's things should work. You can see the runway there. Might actually start video recording next time, toggle video recording. You might see this down here, this won't be in the recording of the video when you've been watching the video back of your landing, so if you want to record your own landing, you can do that. Unfortunately you're going to see this message down here in this actual video when you're watching the landing back. You won't see it. Looking outside here. See that? Very good. we'll be below what we're going to be high. If we're up here, we're below the close slope. If we're down here, we're higher than the close slope. But at the minute, we're okay. Just make sure the aircraft doesn't do anything silly.
1,000 feet stabilized, Mr. Birch, altitude set.
The last video where it was going left and right and it completely missed the ILS. I left it go as it was. I didn't take over. I left it go as it was. I was testing it. Just like I'm doing in this video today. Just testing the auto mode. Obviously I don't want it going funny. At the minute it's working pretty well.
500.
You're now mapped guys here, look. But yeah, right now, coming behind us, which will probably go around. Yeah, here we are. So let's just get rid of the screen.
300.
Looking good. Outside view. There's the aircraft up there. It's going to go around here, going to come behind us. Wing fuse. Where's that like wing fuse?
60, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10, 5.
There we go. That's it there. Is it braking? Yes, we're just going down. There we go.
80 knots.
First is kicked in on that. I missed my exit there, because we didn't slow down quick enough, so I'm going to go backtrack. Probably should have put the speed brake onto max. Tell you what's going on here. But just stop. Get the autopilot off. Okay. Yeah, just backtrack. Yeah, sometimes if you do an auto landing, the autopilot stays on. For some reason, it accelerates. So make sure you turn the autopilot off. Put the flaps back up. I'm just going to put the turbo tracker back on. Yeah, that aircraft did land, by the way. The reason why it landed was because we would have landed on the fake cave on the right. But because we missed that turning on the right, we didn't slow down quick enough. It landed. Let's just get that off. So yeah, if I had slowed down quick enough, we would have landed and vacated the runway. But because there's no ATC taking care of these AI airplanes in X-Plane 12 from Traffic Global, it just landed. It didn't probably know what to do. Doesn't matter. Yeah, we should have vacated the runway. on the overhead panel, landing lights can go off now. They can go off. Taxi light can come back on. Seatbelt signs can go on, obviously. Strobe can go back down to off or steady. We're going to put it on off because it's not dark and we don't need it. APU, we can start the APU. So we let the EPT rise. Obviously your weather radar will go off. Auto brake switch can go back to off. We should put it on max, but we'll turn that back to off. Obviously, I don't know about max, it would have slowed down quicker. I don't know if I use reverse. I did press the keyboard command for reverse, but I don't think it actually kicked in. Let me just try that. I use that too. Okay. I'm not sure if I pressed it. I pressed it properly then. So yeah, like that's off. Obviously, this one I've seen is copy in the real world doing it for you. So obviously. On your own doing it, it takes time. So the APU started, so you put the bus transfer back on, the APU go back on. I'm going to leave the taxi card off because they'll be going off in a minute anyway because it's done to blind people. So let's taxi. I ain't got a gate no more, I'm going to park anywhere. Gates. There's only one gate there, but here somewhere. I want to check my controls as well, just to make sure that they're. Let's just check them now. So my joystick, obviously it's the EIKY Sim Gladiator Evo R. It's all line here. There's nothing. It just seems like it's a bit delayed in the input. It feels like I'm turning it, but then maybe because I taxed it too quick. I don't know. Seems to be working okay now. Perhaps I'm just taxing too quick and it can't keep up with the accuracy. I am trialing a plugin called Your Assist, which obviously helps you with the rudder controls. Maybe it's that, I don't know. So I'm gonna actually just come over here. I don't want to go too far to the too far to tell them about it, so I'm gonna come over here. Somewhere and just leave it. Okay, that would do. So half can break their back. Now let's go back to inside view. Let's just go check these views out here. There we go. So on our map it's got us where we are. There we are. Let's check the traffic global and have a look at flight schedule. The arrivals, got no arrivals coming in, but why is it 13:47? So the next aircraft to come into Kerry will be 13:55 and then later. I don't know if private jet coming in. Is that coming? That should have come in by now. but it's got active only, so I'm not sure if that's working, because active only says nothing. There are Ryanair ones. That might have been that one actually. That might have been the one that came in after us, came in early. Departures. The next plane to depart will be that Ryanair aircraft, 49. Yeah, so the one that was supposed to come at 13:55 was that one. So it's coming early, and that will go at 49, which we obviously can see. Apparently a private jet should have came in. Can't see one. Maybe it's running out, I don't know. Right, the APU is running, so we can shut down these engines because we're sitting here and the ground engine is running, so engines can now be shut. Go back to the home key. To pack passenger on boarding set anti-collision light switched off, so we'll do that in a bit, but first we want to put the ground services on, so we want to connect the GPU and we want to set the chocks, and on the overhead panel we want to put ground power on. Now ground power is connected, we can turn off the APU. APUB can go off as well, and they go off automatically anyway. I think when you connect ground power and turn off the APU, this connects automatically anyway. Seatbelt signs can go off and fuel pumps can go off there as well. The anti-collision light can go off now. So that will start the deboarding process. Your damper can go off, and the pro beams up there can go off as well. Flight directors can both go off, and you can set the autopilot, reset it back to default. You can obviously as well, if you wanted to, turn the packs off as you don't need them now you're on the ground, and the recirculation fan can go off as well. And the trim air can go off. Also the hydraulic pumps 1 and 2 can go off, and the window reeds can go off up there as well. Position lights are already off. Standby power is on auto. We'll leave AFT fuel on for now because we're deboarding. So yeah, we're unloading. So I'm not going to shut the aircraft down at the minute. Use 41% fuel there, see. Got 59% there. Cargo is unloading. Let's go to outside view. As you can see, it all gets done automatically with the Zibo 737. You just don't see the passengers or suitcases and stuff like that, as you do with GSX and Flight Sim. It's pretty cool though. Obviously the FMC's obviously all gone back to nothing left in the gag page, so you can go back to the route if you want, ready for the next one, but we're not going to do a turnaround tonight. And obviously put the back onto map, arrange it back, and you can turn off the weather there and stuff, and position and data as well. Obviously on TCAS down here you can turn it back to standby, which you would have done that after you landed, but I tend to do what's convenient for me, and to put all the lights back to all off, and same on the centre pedestal. And on the overhead, yeah, we can knock all them lights off as well. But I'm not doing a shutdown yet, because I'm just waiting for it all to unload. Yeah, our sim brief had us landing here at 13:02, but obviously we didn't take up. We didn't depart at 12. We departed later. I can't remember what time we departed. It should have took us about an hour 2 minutes on the actual flight. It's 160 miles. I feel like they were 24,000 feet. So yeah, it's I didn't quite set the chrono either. I should have done the chrono. I didn't set it. I should have done that. I didn't do that. It was in my checklist, but I didn't do it. Yeah, well, I'm just sitting here waiting for it to unload, but obviously I haven't got to do that. Before I get to getting the aircraft back down to its golden dot situation. It is nice to simulate in real time as well. Quick look at the airport. You can see that aeroplane coming, it's supposed to come in. Probably. That might be over actually, it might have already come in. I don't know. That's coming after us. The one thing Xplane 12 really does really well is default airports are really good. Now I've got this airport as a Payware in Microsoft Flight Sim 24. And yeah, it's a bit more detailed, but it's not far off. And the airports do seem a lot more alive. Does some things really well, doesn't it? I wonder if we can get these stairs up the front. These are the stairs that come with the aircraft, they come out automatically. I just wonder why we didn't get those stairs up the front rather than these ones. Never mind. Trying to get a good screenshot of the frame rates. The frame rates are at 85. I've done the shadows setting, so the shadows running at 8K or something like that. So yeah, performance wise, it's really good. But then again, I've got a computer that actually can run pretty much anything. So I wasn't expecting to be poor on performance, but yeah. Obviously I'll put the descriptions of the computer and the hardware I use in the computer and stuff in the description, as well as the usual link to this mod and the mods that I use, and the mod to the link to the manual for the EFB. put it in my previous video as well on this aircraft, but I'll put it in this one as well. So you guys can check that out. Just waiting for the rest of the passenger to unload and then we'll shut the aircraft down. So there's not a lot left to do to shut the aircraft down. But at this stage, because if we were turning around, we would actually just continue now, and we want to turn some stuff off. We would have left some stuff as they were in the turnaround mode phase, but then we would have obviously put the next flight plan in. We put done the planning again, put the next flight plan in and autopilot, and got the aircraft in a state where we can go again once the next passengers come on, or stuff like that. But yeah, all my videos, like I said, all my videos won't be as long as what this one is on the initial departure. It definitely won't be as long, that's for sure. But you go, stretch your legs. Yeah, it's not GSX, these don't disappear, they're just part of the aircraft. It's not the best quality. Obviously I need to change the configuration to get rid of that. Where did I see that? I've seen that somewhere. Sure, on payload. Payload. Does that? No, it doesn't get you to do anything. Strange. It's a shame. But yeah, you can just get it and stand up. Cabin. Let's walk out into the look outside. It's pretty cool, isn't it? Don't think we can do that in Flight Simulator 24. You can do walk around Flight Sim 24, but then you can walk in and out of an aircraft. Having to be slowed up. That's pretty neat. Why you lot still do sitting here? Oh, you lot should have got out by now. Yeah, watching a film on their own. Okay. It's gone quiet, so it's all complete, I think. Yeah, it's all complete up to 0%. So actually it's not active now, so the next flight plan from SimBrief, you would obviously load it back up there again and activate. So what we did in the earlier on in the video. So we're going to carry on with shutting the aircraft down. So we put the trim air off. The window lights are off, the emergency exit lights can now go off, wing lights are off, global lights are off, position lights off, standby power off, AFT fuel is only once on, but we can turn that off now, we don't need it. Engine bleeds off, but by default they're on when you load the aircraft up. I think you can save the panel in certain states. So electrics are both off, chrome switch, or the no smoke switch is off, panel light circuit breakers are off, ground power we're going to click off, so now we're just running on the battery. These can go off as well, but again they're on by default, but you can save the panel. I'm sure you can save the panel, so it loads up as you last left it. That switch there tells us we're on battery, so we're done to drain the batteries. Disconnect the GPU there, and turn off the battery off, and you can, well, no, you can't recover it. I should have put the cover over it when we turned them on, so then you can't accidentally switch them off. But yeah, and obviously the dome light will go off now, and etc, etc. But yeah, so the aircraft is back to a cold and dark state. I can retract these stairs, because obviously, just imagine we would have already deboarded if we was not going anywhere else there than we'll leave the stairs on so we can get off the aircraft. But you can actually retract them, but, and obviously, well, the doors are locked. Don't know if the doors are locked. Maybe I should have done that before I turned the batteries off. But yeah, let's that is it. Let's go outside and head over to the terminal there. The engine is still spinning around, look. But we've got a cone there, so chocks are all in place. And that is it for another video. It worked out better this time, start to finish. Hopefully that's helped some people out. I'll come back to the 737 Zibo 737 X-Plane trial very soon. I do like X-Plane trial. I will come back to it. Look at that train over there. So this is the X-Plane trial does this kind of stuff. It's got a lot of good stuff in it, so I'm looking forward to it, where they go with this. I've noticed that aircraft there has got its navigation lights on, so that might be leaving soon. But I'm looking forward to where they go with this, and if they bring out a new one, or in the next few years, or whether they keep updating this one, and just see where it goes. Because it's, I know I'm new to X-Plane 12, but I do like it, and it's better than Microsoft Flight Sim in a lot of ways. Obviously graphically it can't compete with it, but like I said, there are a few things they're working on, anti-aliasing and maybe streaming of the ground scenery and all that. But I think from this point of view, the clouds and the sky and the lighting and the environment and the atmospheric conditions when you're up in the sky and when you're on the ground, I think it looks better than Microsoft Flight Sim 24. And like I said, the roads look, the traffic, and you got the train and stuff. But yeah, I don't compare them both because I like them both as they are. But they both got the good points, they both got the bad points. But I use the sim for different things. Like I normally use Flogadornia 328 in X-Plane, because it's not in Microsoft Flight Sim. 737, you've got a few variants of it, but the Zibo mod is a great mod for a freeware, and it gives you Payware quality and a bit more. So I do like using the 737 Zibo mod in X-Plane. I'm using the 737. But yeah, we're gonna leave it there. I'm trying to get a good view to finish the yeah, we're gonna leave, there we go. We're gonna leave it there, and yeah, so we're coming up to 3 hours on this video, so we're gonna leave it there, and hopefully you've learned a lot from the video. So until the next time, it's a goodbye from me.